Hey, shalom to the hopeful elect. First and foremost, I'd like to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rachakdash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders at Great Millstone who teach the truth and rule well. This is the brother MOTB Yawa'ala coming back from the GMS SF Bay Area camp. And I got a quick lesson today. All right, Lord's will is edifying. I just got to read through these two articles I got pinned up and grab a couple precepts. All right, going into the MOTB. All right, and showing you that Esau is working. All right, the MOTB is nearly here. All right. Let me start with this one. This is from Valve TheVerge.com, dated May 23rd. It's from an article sent on the thread from the bro. And it says this is a title: Valve CEO Gabe Newell's Neuralink competitor is expecting its first brain chip this year. All right. Just jump down a little bit. It says Newell decided to spin off the idea that same year he quietly incorporated a new brain-computer interface startup, Starfish Neuroscience, which has now revealed plans to produce its very first brain chip later this year. Starfish's first blog post spotted by Valve watcher Brad Lynch makes it clear we're not talking about a complete implant yet. This bit is the custom electrophysiology chip designed to record brain activity, like how Neuralink can read your mind, so patients can interact with computers and stimulate the brain for disease therapy. But Starfish isn't claiming it's already built the systems to power it or the bits to stick it in the person's head. We anticipate our first chips arriving in late 2025, and we are interested in finding collaborators for whom such a chip would open new and exciting venues. All right, which is later this year. Okay, we're already in what? We're at the end of May. All right, which is almost half the year. So this is coming. All right, just right down the pipe. But again, this is another, competitor to Neuralink. But, Esau, he likes to have you the illusion of choice. All right. Now, if you're unfamiliar, these C-hips or these chips going into the brain, going into your hand. All right. They call it biohacking. Or medical implantation device that's supposed to help your health, or supposed to monitor your health. All right, all this goes into MOTB, and we're gonna get it in Revelation 13 chapter. It shows you what the end goal is. All right, really, it's total control. Okay, being able to monitor everything that you got, being a digital ID, being a digital wallet. Having to basically have everything monitored that you buy and sell, that you do anywhere. Whatever you do on a daily basis, it's going to be monitoring you. Now, let me jump over here. This is Apple. All right, and this is from a couple weeks ago, May 13th, 2025. And it says Apple, and it's from Gizmodo.com. It says Apple is developing a brain-computer interface. The Cupertino giant is partnering with Jeff Bezos-backed interface company. Apple is in the early stages of developing brain-computer interfaces that would allow people, especially those with mobility issues, to control their iPhones, iPads, and Vision Pro headsets with neural signals captured by a new kind of brain implant. According to Wall Street Journal, Apple is partnering with Synchron, a privately held New York City-based company backed by Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates, on the IN project. The brain-computer interface, or BCI, industry is projected to grow significantly over the coming decades. And why is that? Because we're coming to the end. All right, and it's not going to take decades. All right, this thing is already here. It says perhaps the best known player in the space is Elon Musk's Neuralink, which as of January has successfully implanted its devices in 3 people. So again, they're going through trials. All right, it's being talked about, it's being pushed, it's being marketed as something that can help with mobility issues, health. All right, but again, this is the MOTB, if you can receive it. All right. It says historically, both users have relied on both mechanical through the use of a keyboard or mouse, and behavioral through the use of touchscreens or voice interactions with their computers. BCIs, all right, which is the brain chip interfaces, eliminate the need for physical movement, expanding device accessibility for people with with profound physical impairments. Unlike Neuralink's N1 implant, Synchron's stent-like device called the stentrode is implanted on top of the brain, not inside of it, which allows users to avoid an invasive open brain implant procedure. Once placed, the stentrode works by using its electrodes to read brain signals and translate them into on-screen navigations and icon selection. Synchron's device works with switch control, a pre-existing accessibility feature in Apple operating system that allows users to remotely control their Mac with an external adaptive device like a joystick or switch, or now the stentrode. Since 2019, Synchron has implanted the stentrode in 10 people. All right, so again, that's from 2019, which was what, 6 years ago. All right, showing you that these things have been in the works. All right, and the MOTB is already here. It's just not implemented yet. Okay, they're going through their trial phases. They're working on their laws. They're setting everything up. Okay, to fully implement this, and this is what one of the prophecies that we go heavily into, because this shows us where we're at. All right, this shows us where we're at in the timeline. All right, the biblical timeline, because everything is biblical. Okay. And it shows you how close we are to the end. This is one of the major prophecies that we're looking for from the apostles and elders on down, to show that Yahushua makes his return. All right, because this has to be implemented first, and it actually has to be implemented before the Third World War. And you can see how everything's heating up in over there in the East. All right, it's still going down. More countries are starting to get involved. Hey, things are heating up. So it shows you how close we are. All right. Now let me jump over here. I wanted to grab this real quick. Because, the Lord has given us the gift of faith to see these things. And, being at the end, being somebody who believes in the scriptures, all right, you're going to be looking for these things. All right, you're going to be measuring the times. Second Ezra's, what is it? I believe it's 9. Yep. Second Ezra's 9:1, it says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. All right, this is something that we need to do on a diligent basis and a daily basis. All right, is measure the time. Okay, this is why so many lessons go out. This is why there's so much things going on in the world, because the Lord is working, and we're supposed to see everything that's going on. All right, been given this knowledge and wisdom, and given this faith, measure it up to the scriptures and push it out. All right, give the warning, like Yahweh Shem Shai said, give them warning from me. All right, because this is what we're approaching. We're approaching the end. It says, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And this is what we're seeing. All right, this was a sign that was written down at the time of so like John the Revelator. All right, which was what, 2,000 years ago. But this is an end time sign. It says, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And again, why is he visiting this world? Because we're witnessing a change in rulership. All right. A changing in the guard, if you will. Esau is on his way out. The Lord has set him, like the scriptures say, bounds that he cannot pass, and he's reaching those bounds. All right? And who's next? Well, also in this book, it tells you, all right, that Esau is the end and Jacob is the beginning. So these are the signs we're to look for, to measure, all right, through the scriptures and see, okay, you know what? This shows that we're close. It says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, and this is what we're also seeing. This is some more signs, all right? Earthquakes, they're happening all over the world, and they're not just regular earthquakes. They're increasing in magnitude. It says, and uproars of the people in the world. All these protests, these riots. All right, why? Because the people are angry with the current rulers. Then shalt thou well understand, all right? The scriptures say, with all thy getting, get understanding, that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. And this is why it's so important. This is why the scriptures hold so much weight. All right, this is how we know Yahweh Shem Shai to be true, because things that he's said before, all right, are happening or have happened or are about to happen. All right. Just the Most High is not a man that he should lie. Okay, real quick. We jump over here and I'll jump back. Isaiah 55 and verse 11. It says, "So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void." So when the Lord says something, it's not empty. It's not an empty threat. It's not an empty prophecy. It's just a matter of when. It's not a matter if, it's a matter of when. Okay, and that's why we're supposed to be measuring, because the Lord shows us the signs to tell or to show us when it is. All right? It says, "But it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereunto I sent it." All right? So everything that the Lord has said, okay, it's going to happen. The Great Awakening. All right? Baruch the 2nd chapter. Ezekiel the 37th chapter. Okay? Jake coming back to the truth. Well, Yahushua, you can read Yahushua prophesied in the Old Testament. All right? Since the time of Moses. From the beginning. Okay? The nukes. World War III. The MOTB. These are all prophecies that are getting ready to happen. All right? And again, because we're measuring the times and we see articles like this, it shows us how close we are. All right? Now, let me jump back over here. 2nd Ezra 9 and verse 4, it says, "Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest." And what does that word manifest mean? All right? Let's just look it up. Real quick, let's get the online etymon. All right. It says manifest, adjective, late 14th century, clearly revealed to the eye or the understanding. All right. So what does that mean? The Lord is making these things clear, if you can receive it. Okay. Clearly revealed to the eye or the understanding, open to view or comprehension. All right. It says plainly apprehensible, clear, apparent, evident, proved by direct evidence. All right. And hey, the Lord is showing us the evidence. That's pretty much it on that. It says, "For like all that is," back in verse 5 again, "For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest." So the end is being made clear. All right. "Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonders and powerful works and endings and effects and signs." And again, this is how the Lord deals. Especially being here at the end. Okay? He's going to have certain signs for us to look for. He's already set it up. He told us what to look for. Okay? It says, "And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby ye have believed." Yeah, and it takes belief. All right? Hey, the evidence is there. All right? The Lord will show us things, but do you believe? Because Esau will show what he has too. All right? These false miracles, this pseudoscience. All right? And that's what it's going to take, especially to get up out of here, because, hey, it's about to get a whole lot worse. All right? We're heading into the times of Jacob's trouble. Okay? We're heading into the times of the hour of temptation, a World War III. A lot of chaos is going to be going on. Esau is going to provide his pseudo solutions. All right? His pseudo salvations. So it's going to take true faith in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai to get up out of here. And ultimately, if you're of the elect, if you've been chosen, because that's also something that's been from the beginning, who the chosen are. Only the elect are going to get out of here. All right. Now from there, let me get this real quick. I wanted to jump to Revelation the 19th chapter, just because we were talking about prophecy. All right. This is what it's all about. Okay. You see all these different anti-Christian groups. All right. You see Islam. You see, whoever thinks they have some type of spiritual sense or whatever, they think they know what's going on. Well, if they're not into prophecy, they have no idea what's going on. Revelation 19 and what is it? Yep, verse 10. It says, "And I fell at his feet to worship him, and he said unto me, See thou do it not." All right, this is when the angel presented himself to John the Revelator. Okay, John was going to worship him, but what did the angel say? "See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushua." What's the whole testimony of Yahushua? Okay, if you call yourself believing in the Bible, believing in the Messiah, what is his testimony? This is his testimony. Worship the Most High. Okay, worship the Most High. How do you worship the Most High? You do what he says. All right, if you truly worship Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls the Most High, or who ignorantly calls God. I shouldn't say ignorantly calls the Most High, because that's just a title. Okay, but who ignorantly calls him Yahweh. Okay, or Hashem, which just means the name. The true name of the Heavenly Father, okay, is Yahweh. Now, how do you worship Yahweh? Well, you do what he says. Okay, he has commandments set up, and at this time, he has sent his son to be a sacrifice to believe on. Okay? Now, we do the best that we can, and ultimately, we have faith in Yahushua and the ministry, okay, being co-testifiers, bringing out the same testimony in hopes to be saved. All right, it says, worship the Most High for the test, and this is the testimony, for the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. Okay, and again, this is what it's all about. All right, this is what it's all about. It's all about the prophecies. All right. Now, if you have the same testimony of Yahushua, if you believed in Yahushua, what would you do? You would worship the Most High, and you would be into that spirit of prophecy, which again, prophecy just means to say before. You're going to be into all the different prophecies that are in the scriptures that are getting ready to happen. All right? And getting the understanding of those that have already happened, so you know how to rightly divide the scriptures. Okay? Bear with me real quick. Yep. Let me grab this real quick, because back in the Apocrypha. Because again, if you're into the scriptures, all right, if you know what's going on, this is what you're gonna be. This is what your mind is gonna be on. Okay, Sirach 39:1, and it says, "But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof." If you're meditating in these scriptures, all right, you're meditating on the will of the Lord. You're meditating on what the Lord has said. Okay. What does it say? It says, "We'll seek out all the wisdom of the ancient," because the wisdom of the ancient is how we maneuver in this world. Okay? You see how men of the Lord, all right, ancient men got good reports. And how did they receive good reports? They received good reports by doing what the Lord said. Okay? By being after the mind of the Lord. By trying their best. All right? But it says, "We'll seek out the wisdom of the ancient and be occupied in prophecies." And again, this is the point. This is why we heavily go into what's going on in the world and going into these prophecies. Okay? Because we are into the scriptures. We're into what the Lord told us to look for. All right? We're into what the Lord said was going to happen. So we measure the times, and we can see, yes, this is exactly what the Lord said was going to happen. So what does it mean? It means the Lord is working. All right? And specifically, on this MOTB, it shows that we're coming to the end. All right? Now, let me jump over here and I'll grab these last couple precepts and close out, because again, this is what it's about. All right? It's about getting that understanding to know where we're at in the timeline of prophecy. All right? And what does it do? It increases our faith. All right? It edifies, it uplifts, it exhorts, because it shows that the Lord is working. He's doing what he said he would do. And we don't have too much longer in this hell. Okay? Revelation 13:16. "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads." And again, what have we been reading about? a brain computer interface. They call it a BCIs. All right, this is what it's talking about. If you can receive it, it says to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. So there's one that can go into your brain, and there's one that can just go into your hand. All right, they already have it. It's the R to the F to the I to the D, C hip. Okay, you can see. Just type in biohacking or R to the I to the F to the R to the F to the I to the D C hips that go into your hands, and you can see how some of these people have it. They call it biohacking. People are being able to open the doors of their car, open the doors to their house, buy things on the what is it called? On a vending machine. Okay, they're showing you how like Amazon is setting up a system to where they can just scan your palm, or I think it's in Whole Foods though, but Amazon owns Whole Foods. They're getting everything in that direction because we're close. All right. It says, or in their right hands or in their forehead. When you go, it's a lot. And when you go into that word mark, G5480, what is it? A stamp or an imprinted mark. All right. The mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand is the badge of the followers of the Antichrist, which there's many Antichrists. It says the mark branded upon horses, thing carved, sculpture, graven work of idolatrous images. So it's an imprinted mark, okay, which is what? That C hip. All right. Now you go to the root word, which is karax, which is a pale or stake or palisade. Palisade or rampart, okay, which goes into that thing that inserts the charagma, okay, which is what? The needle, all right, shaped like a stake or shaped like a palisade. And then one more root word of that, grapho. Fourth definition, it says to write to one, i.e., for example, by writing in a written epistle to give information, directions, data. All right, this is data, the data that's on that C hip. So you got the grapho, the karax, the charagma, which is the data. Okay, they talk about the digital ID. All right, they got the inserting method, the needles that they use, whether it's less invasive or not, it doesn't matter. And then you have the actual C hip itself, which can go into your brain or anywhere in your body for that matter. All right, this is what the scriptures are talking about. And again, if you can receive it, because hey, at this time it's only for the elect to understand. All right, it says to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is, and again, it's all involved with buying and selling, total control. All right, this is why the scriptures talk about being pilgrims upon the earth and understanding and knowing that this place is just temporary. And that's why it's called the hour of temptation, because you're going to have to give up comforts. You're going to have to give up, how you've known so-called life to be, for the integrity of for your integrity in the belief in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Or you could be like the 2/3 who are just going to take it. And they believe in Esau. It says that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. And again, remember we read it in Sirach, the 39th chapter. All right, if you're reading these scriptures, you're going to seek wisdom. Let him that had the understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. All right, and this is the time we're heading into. Okay, you see, moves are being made. All right, moves are being made to show that hey, we're almost out of here. All right, this is it. Hey, there's no 30 more years. All right, there's no 1,000 more years. We're too close by way of end time prophecy. All right, and then I'll just end off on this. This is Revelation 14:9, because this is the warning. All right, if you don't want to take heed, if you don't believe in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and you want to give in to what Esau, you want to give in to what the beast is offering. All right, you want to give in to what this world has to offer, and not what the Lord is offering, which goes into the gospel. Then this is your destiny. Okay, it says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his right hand, so if you take that C-hip, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture unto the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. All right? And what is that? That's thermonuclear fire. You will be caught up. All right? You will be fuel for that nuclear fire if you take that C-hip. In the presence of Yahushua and the angels coming back. All right? So literally, the Lord is going to be watching. He's going to be right there, seeing you burn. All right? Verse 11, and the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here's the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of the Most High and faith of Yahushua. And remember, we read in the Apocrypha how we be saved. By faith and works. They go hand in hand. So you keep the commandments of the Most High. You do what he says. All right. To the best of your ability. And you have faith in Yahushua. All right. Faith in Yahushua. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Lord's will. This is edifying. Once again, I want to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders at Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect and Abba Baba.